Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. We're also sponsored by Architect, the premier site for hosting your decks on the internet. I love them and they love me, and it seems like a good reason for you to use them. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivanB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to us by Architect and Quiver and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivanB. Today, I am joined by somebody who solicited himself to me, which is actually something I recommend all y'all do. If you have an interesting story, you should just hit me up on Blue Sky or whatever and let me know, because God knows I love to talk to people. And I am running out of more people to talk to. But this is really cool because we actually met at a couple of Magic Cons, and I've seen some of your TikToks. I'm talking today to Sullivan the Monster, who's a very popular Magic TikToker who has a Muppet that looks sort of like a red Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Adam. I do Sullivan the Monster and a bunch of other characters.
That's so sick.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a video with this too, so you can see I'm holding a Sullivan.
Listeners are going to actually want to go to the YouTube for this one because this kind of really neat puppet.
So yeah, Sullivan is a monster. He's not officially a Muppet or anything. He doesn't. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get sued. By I don't want to get in trouble with Disney. They're very litigious. So I'm just a monster in Chicago.
Just a puppet.
I'm also not a ventriloquist, so don't expect that if you're watching the video.
Well, yeah, it probably works a lot better when you're just literally off the camera.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. See, if I'm over here and then I duck to the side.
Yeah, but like, better. Real talk, though, I've seen a lot of live action puppetry and Muppetry and stuff, and if the storytelling is good enough, you don't notice the person holding the thingy.
Yeah, there's a great video by Frank Oz doing Cookie Monster. And he talks about when he's doing Cookie Monster, you stop paying attention to the human entirely, and you are entirely focused on the puppet and what's going on. And the human just sort of kind of fades out into the background.
Yeah.
So,
It's wild because I've seen both, there's Avenue Q, obviously, who did that. And then there was also, I've seen a number of, Japanese style stage dramas and stuff where they're, puppets literally the puppeteers are climbing up and down the stage and you can see them, but you are paying attention to the one person who is speaking the spotlight. Like the figures themselves, the humans don't matter at all. And I'm like, and obviously when you see the gamelans, Southeast Asian and Indian puppetry, they use more of the shadow puppets and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it's the suspension of disbelief, right?
Sure.
If you are allowing yourself, especially when you see little kids looking at talking, I remember seeing pictures of Frank Oz being Ernie or whatever, and just walking around, and the child would be face to face with him and his mustache and everything, but they'd be staring up at the Muppet who is talking to them.
Oh yeah,
and they're not even the guy there might as well be an ice cream cone or something, right? He's just not a relevant thing in the. Yeah.
They always would say that on Sesame Street when the people are working with the kids that the kids would instantly just tune out the performers and start talking to Elmo or Cookie Monster or whoever it was. Actually, the celebrities too, when they're on there, they're like, yeah, I totally forget.
I don't care about Jim Henson. I want to talk to Kermit, man.
Yeah, for real.
That's so sick. What were you saying?
So I was saying, so I've been doing Sullivan the Monster here on TikTok lately. Actually started doing puppetry and magic a while ago, if you want to hear that story.
Yeah, okay, because I feel like there's a complexity here of how do you decide to, doing puppetry as a hobby or whatever, Brad, but how do you decide that you want to bring magic into this?
So
it's not a pairing I would have put together.
The story starts at the end of this, 2015. Okay, so I'm a regular, just normal, casual Magic player. Started watching people play this game called Magic Online on something called Twitch. Back
when
in the
did
day,
you start playing Magic?
Oh, I started playing Magic back in 1998, but that's a different story. I was very kitchen table for a long time with some
Noob.
breaks in between. My first deck was an Urza's Saga, like precon kind of thing, the old 60
Mm,
card precons. For a long time, I just played with friends. They lent me their decks. I didn't actually have any cards for a while. But yeah, I started playing like 98, 99. But
mm,
that was like, through college, after college, just, living in Chicago, and then going, just kind of, life happens and you stop playing and you come back. And then around 2015, I started watching a lot of Twitch and people playing. And I was playing Magic online, so I was drafting because I was a big Limited fan. And I was thinking, well, Twitch is kind of interesting, but there weren't a lot of Magic players. Because keep in mind, in 2015, around then, there were maybe 20-ish people who streamed Magic online on Twitch. I mean, this was back when I remember there was this guy named Caleb who started doing like a 365 stream. And then there was this guy named Newmont who started streaming
mm.
around then. Just,
I've
this
had
is,
Caleb on the show. He's amazing.
yeah.
Newmont, I've known for a very long time, but he studiously refuses to do podcasts. And I'm like,
All right.
you know what,
That's
man?
fair.
Fair. You've got a lot of done, and you've told your story a million times. So that's cool.
So I was like, I kind of like Twitch. I was wondering if I could do it. And I was like, well, I could stream it, but I'm just, I'm not a professional Magic player. I wasn't creating content at the time. I was kind of nobody. And you can start there and work up. But I was like, I want to do something that was a little more interesting. And I had a collection of puppets. Like if you can see the one behind me,
Yeah.
that's an actual Muppet. So there are these things called Muppet Whatnots. That's Dave from Legal, if people are wondering and know that character. There was a thing that FAO Schwartz did with the Jim Henson Company back in 2008, 2009 called Muppet Whatnots. And it was like Build-A-Bear, except you built a Muppet.
That's so
So
cool.
you could pick out your own Muppet, and
So
then
it's
you
like
would...
the Star Wars experience at
Oh,
Disneyland where you get to make your own droid.
right, yeah, exactly. But these are, actual performing puppets and stuff. I'm not going to put Dave on at the moment. But you get to pick like the color, and you could pick the clothes, and what the hairstyle, if it had glasses, nose shape,
Wow, really?
et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So you could really customize them. It was pretty cool. And I had one I'd gotten, and it was just sitting in like a plastic bag in my basement, not really doing anything. And I was like, I've always been one of those like pseudo puppeteers. I never did anything professionally or even amateurly with puppets, except I'm always the kind of person who, like, you pick up the oven mitt and you start making it talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always had that kind of instinct to do puppetry. And I was like, well, what instead of me playing Magic online drafting, what if it was the puppet that was drafting? And the puppet was. And so I created a character called Melvin the Muppet back in 2015, 2016. And then I streamed off and on 2-3 days a week, just doing drafts on Twitch for, I want to say, till like 2020-ish.
With the Muppet?
Oh, yeah,
With
with
the
the
puppet?
Muppet. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how? So you'd be playing Magic Online and then have the other hand up here or something?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So you'd be doing this, and you'd be talking about, okay, I'm going to attack here with this creature, and then I need a block, and okay, let's see. So they're at 18, and I have to 15, and you're just doing all the stuff.
That seems
But
very
you're actually
complicated.
puppeting at the same time. This is Melvin's voice, by the way. It's a little higher than mine, and it just does just a little bit of a distinction. But yeah, so the trick is you are doing live puppeting. You don't have a script or anything because you're just talking to chat. So you're playing a draft on Magic Online. You're watching Twitch chat. You're also watching the feedback from your puppet on your camera to see what's going on. And you're doing all this with one hand. Magic Online isn't so bad because it's mostly
It's
point
a
and click.
mouse-driven game, and it's not like there's no. You could take as long as you want in Magic Online.
I have played first-person shooters and other games as puppeting. There are some people on Twitch and YouTube who are very good at it.
That seems a lot.
It is a very complex skill to learn, but it's pretty entertaining.
Both. I mean, you would have to do some real keyboard remapping to be able to get away with that, I think.
It's not. It's all mouse. There's no keyboard.
Oh, fair. I'm
here,
just old.
behind the scenes cheat here. I have a mouse that has 12 buttons for the thumb. So you map most of your keyboard to that, and so you're actually ASDFing with your thumb instead of your left hand on the keyboard. Anyways, so did that on Twitch for a while.
I don't know that I have the coordination to be able to do that. I'm just like trying.
It's a lot of training.
Okay, yeah.
Did that for a while. Did a podcast called Ponder for 5 years. And that ended in 2022. And then I kind of took a break. And at the same time, there was this thing, COVID, right? Remember that? Everybody's kind of bored at home. And at that
AKA
point, I was
how
like,
this show started.
yeah. So, but instead of another podcast for me, it was starting TikToks because TikToks are fairly easy. One of the things I really like about the platform is that it's very easy to get started. It's easier than anything you could do. It's easier than YouTube. I mean, it's not quite as simple as like creating a Blue Sky or Twitter account or anything, but you can just record something and just get it online to people almost instantly. So I started that in 2020, and I've been doing it for, I guess, 4+ years now. I guess August 2020. I don't know. I have to look. A long time. But yeah, so Sullivan, I picked Sullivan the Monster here to do for that, mostly because, number one, he's got a kind of different personality. He has his own little personality compared to me. And he has hands that can actually pick up objects. The other puppets only have the little like rod hands, so they can't grip anything. So you can get a lot more fun with a puppet because, I can pick up this donut here. I can pick.
You can do the whole Cookie Monster thing.
Oh yeah, I've eaten some magic cards. I'm not. So I've definitely Cookie Monstered a big pile of magic cards several times.
That's
yeah.
Because like controlling a puppet is so difficult because like your hands have to deal with like the different motions of the eyebrow, the mouth articulation, and then like your other hand is doing the other hand thing. Like I got to go see some of the stuff at the Sesame Workshop because I had a friend who was a huge Muppets nerd, and we got to see like the inchworm move along and do all the things, and it's just such a trippy and fascinating art for me, and like they're so expressive and yet so complex to try to move that stuff around. Like, what? I'm just still lost at the part where it's like, wait, why did you go? How did you decide to be like puppets? Like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I like puppetry, and another thing to be like, oh, I own 3 of them now.
I have. I wish it was just 3. I can't turn my camera around, but I actually started collecting the Muppet Whatnots because people would dump them on eBay when they didn't want them anymore, and I would pick them up. So I have
that's
quite
a great way to
collection of them.
just to build up a whole mess of bodies.
Yeah. So this guy is actually manufactured by a professional puppet creator. It's a company called Operation Puppet on Etsy. Fun fact, there are 2 Sullivan the Monster puppets. They're slightly different in their builds for what they can do. This is the original one. There's another one that I had around. And it's mostly just different in the body. The actual like face and the way things work are still the same. But yeah, so it's fun. Sullivan's a bartender on TikTok in Chicago, talks about magic. There's a variety of other puppets that show up from time to time. There's this character who's behind me is Dave from Legal, which is he's a literal rules lawyer. He says he works at Wizards of the Coast, although we've never been able to actually document that, and no one's at Wizards has ever confirmed or denied that. So that's what he tells us. He
actually works for Mages on the Lake, right?
It could be. And he's sort of... I have 2 characters that are sort of like the angel devil complexity. So Dave he's very rule focused, but he's also very innocent and trustworthy. And so people like to play tricks on him by telling him that there's this new mechanic coming out in the set that's something or other, and it doesn't actually exist. And then he does a whole video talking about it, and then figures out at the end that people were leading him on and it's not real. I have another character that's a crotchety old game store owner. So he's kind of the representation of like, jaded, sarcastic, condescending, that kind of character.
I just had the idea that I need to have your puppets go to Rebels game store and see what would happen when your VTubers meet puppets. I think that would be a very funny sketch, maybe to just me, but it would be really funny. But yeah, so like you got 100,000 followers on TikTok, which is to me an unfathomably large number.
I think I was hoping actually to hit 100,000 by this is before MagicCon Chicago. I'm at like 97.5 at the moment.
Gosh.
So I'm not quite at 100,000.
Alas.
Yeah, darn. So here's one of the funny things about TikTok, which is actually kind of neat and also kind of weird at the same time. Followers matter, but they don't matter because of the algorithm. Your
Mm.
followers don't see everything that you create because a lot of people just watch the For You page, which feeds you from the algorithm.
Mm.
So there are people who have very large followings, but their videos don't get a lot of views because they're generally not great or they don't put a lot of work into them.
And they're
So
not getting onto the front page, and so nobody cares.
yeah, so you can have a lot of followers and not have a lot of views in your videos. On the same time, you can make really good videos. I've seen some very great content that look like very clean cut like mini YouTube clips. Like here you
Mm.
need these 5 commanders in your deck, or these 5 red cards in this commander deck, and then it goes through and it looks very clean and cut. Lots of views, but the accounts don't get any follows.
Mm.
And the reasons everything I say is my personal speculation on how things work, but I think a lot of it is because you also have to sell like a brand of yourself or your channel when you're presenting these videos, because people will watch a video and be like, oh, that was cool, and they'll hit like and then they'll scroll on, right? They won't be like, oh, I like the person who did this, I liked their content, it stood out and was unique compared to everybody else's, so they're worth actually following. So there's this real kind of weird thing between you can have not a lot of followers and you can have very high views on your videos, but then you're not getting followers, so you're not really building your brand. But you could also have a whole bunch of followers, but your video, that could be from you had one video that went viral
Mm.
and did really well, or you were doing something a couple years ago and now that's, styles change, fads come and go. And so maybe what you're doing now isn't what's cool anymore. And so people aren't really interacting with your videos and your views are down. There's a lot of games with that, but
Every time somebody tells me like you should go and join TikTok, your card of the day or something would do
yes,
great there. They
I
probably would, but
so
that just seems like work.
dear audience, I tried to team up with Kess Wiley to
Yeah.
convince you to put your card of the day. It's so easy. All you have to do is pick up your phone and go, hey, everybody, today's card of the day for, January 3rd is this one. It's this. If you're feeling really fancy, you could put a picture of the card on the video before you upload it. You don't even have to do that. You upload it and, you put your thoughts on it. And that's the kind of thing where if you have charisma and you have passion for what you're doing, like
Me,
it'll push the
charisma?
video.
No.
No, that you're known for your strict technicality on these things.
I'm just here for sharp plays and nothing else.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, that's like, because I don't know, nothing makes me feel old like video only content, because like recently I've been dipping into Instagram to just see what it's like, because I'm like, okay, might as well diversify and
Sure.
see what's going on. And it turns out Instagram is full of videos of ladies in bikini bouncing at to me, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
I don't like what did like
That's
what is
not why
going
you're
on?
there.
Everybody talks about like the reels and shorts and stuff, and I'm like, really? It feels like softcore porn from the 90s, and I'm just very confused as to what's going
I
on.
people keep asking, what happens when TikTok goes down, because I know you record these far in advance. So there's still, for me right now, the scare of if TikTok really gets banned or not. And so that's the platform where I'm the biggest. I have a YouTube channel. It's got a couple thousand followers, but that's not really what I'm making content for. It's just kind of like a secondary place.
Mm.
And I tried Instagram. I'm just loading the same material from TikTok on there, and I don't really interact with the community or videos and stuff. I really never got the feel of it. So I'm kind of with you on that one. It's like, I'd rather not do that platform. I like TikTok, and I really like the Magic the Gathering community on TikTok because it's its own individual like community outside of some of the other ones. Because you've got these kind of circles of Magic community. You've got the professional players, right? You've got the longtime players. You've got the YouTube content creators. To an extent, you've got the cosplayers.
Right.
You've got the people who write articles, and then the Magic the Gathering community on TikTok is, for the most part, people who do TikTok and not really other things. I mean, they're starting to creep into other stuff, but it's very,
I mean, I just did the pre-release for Aether Drift at Loading Ready Run, and I was partnered with Callie, aka Magic New Girl, a creator. I know her. I'd literally never heard of her before, and it turns out she's like huge on TikTok or something, and I'm like, that is an entire world that I have no visibility into, except that, like, two of my dearest friends, Cass and Tappy, are both like TikTok mavens. So like maybe I need to go there and see where the people are. But it's just like I'm a text guy, man. I can't like this video stuff is too much for me. Even this getting onto YouTube for this show took
Mhm.
like a lot of being my arm wrangled. Like EK was like, just do this,
Just
dude.
do
Just
it.
shut up and do it. Just you will trust me. And I mean he's right, but it's still like, man, I feel curmudgeonly. I just so can you tell me what kind of content do you do then? What is your TikTok videos like? What are they like?
Um, I throughout the 4 years, I have tried to do all sorts of things. I think that's one of
Mm,
the important things is to generally try things and see what hits for you. Because I tried doing like heavily relying on the bartender thing when I started. I was like,
sure.
here's a drink that represents it. Like here's a Olivia Valderin drink, right? This
Mm,
is a blood martini or something, and then that sort of thing. And I tried. One of the things people really like to do on TikTok is to take funny audio and then make it Magic the Gathering related.
hmm.
So they'll do
Yes,
like lip synced audios, right?
yeah,
And
I've seen Z do that.
right. That's very popular in terms of making content. Um, there is a lot of like back and forth like sketch comedy with people talking to themselves playing Commander or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those. Those are
That
funny.
those two. Those are the most popular ones. So my content is it's either silly puppet stuff, which I can get away with because I have a
Yeah.
puppet, um, or I do a lot of like news breaks. So I made a video today talking about the brackets and everything that got announced today, the game changers, which I'm sure that's a whole other episode for you coming up, or two or three. But
Turns out I am not on that group. I have nothing to say.
okay, well, I'm sure you have opinions. I know. All right,
No, I think
but
it's
that's
a great idea. And honestly, if you were to get any like 15 Magic Commander players to sit there and pick their 40 most irritating, annoying cards in the world, that
mhm,
would be the game changers list.
yeah.
Like there's maybe like 3 cards or something, 3 to 5 cards on there that I could argue should be or shouldn't be. Like, I think Trouble in Pairs is a kind of a confusing choice, but I can see why someone would want it. I would personally have put on Farewell because I think that card is complete garbage. I would have put
Mhm.
on Toxrill and Coma just because nothing good comes from those cards,
Sure.
and Torment of Hailfire because I hate that card with the
Oh, yeah.
energy of 1,000 suns.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like if I were to curtail my personal opinions and just be like holistically from a person who has helped run the format for 5 years, what would I want to do with this game changers list? The list that they showed up with is basically where I would land. And as far as the brackets themselves go, neat.
Yeah.
Good
I'm
luck. Hope it works.
I'm I'm fine with it. Like, they're taking a shot. They said it's beta and they're gonna change things. Like, okay, cool. Just
Yeah,
let's see
like
what happens. Let them go with
I,
it.
I
Let's
don't. I
not
mean, like
nitpick yet.
I've tried for 3, 4 years to come up with some kind of ranking matchmaking system for a commander. Hang on.
Sure.
Because Commander, the biggest problem is literally that it's a social format, and some people just aren't socialized. and like,
In
um,
Magic, you're shocking me.
and like, really, we just need to find different ways to encourage people to talk to each other and to have a conversation and say, like, hey, like some people went too far with like here's a spreadsheet and like 3 intake forms to for me to understand your deck makeup versus like let me give you a 5.5 minute soliloquy about like the morality and ethos of my deck here. No, it's really just like, hey guys, my deck is pretty strong, and like I also run like, Cyclonic Rip type of things in it. Or like, hey guys, this is my soldiers theme deck. It's got like Smothering Tithe, but that's because if it didn't, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Hello, I'm done. You know what my deck is. It's going to be a
Mhm.
pushover. You get it. Or it's going to be like, all right, guys, we've got like half an hour left. So I'm bringing out my Minsc and Boo big guns deck. So we're all going to like combo off and it's going to be over real quick. Whatever. But like bracketing, I am for anything that will get commander players to be able to sit down together and just smooth the entryway of actually playing the damn game. Because like the worst thing in the world is wasting 2 hours of your life playing a bad game of Commander.
Oh yeah.
Toby Elliott, who used to be on the rules committee, had a saying which was like, I would rather play no commander than play bad commander, you know? Um, or he said it was more like no commander is better than bad commander, but when you read it in text, it makes it sound like bad commander is the best kind of commander because it's like nothing is better than bad commander. No, he means not playing at all is better than wasting 2 hours of your life being miserable or having somebody just like, Armageddon lock you in turn 4 or something. It's like
Oh yeah.
people are like, yeah, well, this just moves a 7 down to a 3. Yeah, whatever, dude. Give it a shot. Just sit down. We're just trying to make it so that you can play with the normies and everybody has a good time. It's fine. And like, I have a lot of respect for the people on the team, but I'm also glad that I'm taking my sabbatical
Yeah,
because like,
you did your time.
yeah, dude, 5 years is a lot to do anything. And
Oh
also,
yeah.
I've been watching how the fans are going off on this, and it's like, ah, I remember when I used to have to answer those questions.
Yep. You're not catching any strays from that at the moment,
Nope.
hopefully.
I'm very
Okay.
happy to let this
Great.
one. You know,
Let it go.
I always it's like I'm realizing this right now, but it feels a lot like that scene of Captain America at the end of Avengers, where he's the old man and he's like,
Yeah, it passes the yeah.
yeah, it's like, hey, do you want to come back? And he's like, no, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
Good man. Happy birthday to all yours, buddy. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I put in so much time and effort into Commander, and I'm really glad to see how it's going. And when people are like, bring back Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt, I'm like, not my problem. Let somebody else deal with that. Uh, but yeah, so like, what has it? So like, when you bring your puppets out to like cons and stuff, how's that been?
It's been good and bad. So, one of the difficulties I have is that I'm not obviously recognizable as the puppet unless I have him out. So, like, if I'm walking around, sometimes I'll have his head just kind of sticking out the back of my backpack so you can see him. But, people recognize you when they come up to you at conventions because, like, I did. I was like, oh, hey. But I don't have that face recognition kind of on purpose. And so it's difficult for me unless I say like if I have the puppet out and I'm doing pictures with somebody, people immediately start coming over because it's like, oh, it's the TikTok puppet, and they realize that, and then I'll do pictures or videos or whatever people want to do because I'm pretty much up for anything. Or I'll be hanging around, like I usually wind up hanging around the other Magic TikTok content creators that are there or just chilling or whatever they're doing, and then people are like, oh yeah, that he does Sullivan. I'm like, that's Sullivan? It's like, yeah, hi, how's it going? I got they're like, wow. It's like, is he here? He's like, yeah, he's in my backpack right now.
That's so
Pull him
sick.
out. I I always apply for the like official like creator spots because I think it would be more convenient for other people to find me if they had if I had a published table there. But I haven't been selected for that for the various reasons Wizards picks people for those things. So my plan at MagicCon Chicago is I am just going to take over a table that's creator area adjacent and just put it out on TikTok and stuff. They're like, hey, I'm going to be at this table nearby from 1 to 2 on Saturday or something. And then if you want a picture or a video or anything, or just say hi, come by and find me, and that'll be about as good as I can do. And then
I mean,
otherwise look for a head out of a backpack.
That's a good way to do it, though. Like the creator area is huge, and there's a lot of empty space, and you could just sit there, camp out, and just make your own. Man,
Yeah.
just go to your fans on TikTok, post a video up there, and say like, "Hey guys, I'm here.
Here I
Come
am."
to table 338 or whatever."
Yeah.
And like that's the way we used to do it in the olden days.
I've talked to a couple other TikTok content creators who aren't official creators as well, and I told them like, hey, I'm going to camp out at a table if you want to do the same thing, and then there's more of us in an
TikTok
area.
pavilion.
Yeah, the TikTok pavilion. I like that.
It's better than the TikTok tent, right?
the other thing I suggested I emailed the whatever creators at wizards.com account, which I feel like is kind of an email black hole, but that's a different discussion. I emailed them an idea of what if they had a bulletin, like an actual bulletin board for content creators where they could put up little, like just index cards, right? My name is here and I will be in this area from 3 to 4 on Saturday. And so people could go look instead of like trying to check socials and all that stuff, because, Wizards has room for like 30-ish content creators or, something about that at a given convention, but there's probably hundreds there. right?
Mm-hmm.
So a nice way for everybody to kind of like self advertise in a way that's not super annoying for Wizards to deal with. I thought would be a good idea of like, look, here's a bulletin board. If you have like a card, just put it up saying when you're going to be around so people can look at it and find it. And then, because it's so hard for people to, there's like, for people who haven't been to large like Magic Con size conventions, there's like, what was Vegas, like 15,000 people or something?
Yeah, it's like 15, 20,000. It was the biggest one so far.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Chicago's going to be pretty big too, I think, because the last one
I
was
mean, they've
huge.
all been getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so it's
Turns out a lot of
difficult
people
to
like to
find.
do these things.
Yeah. Oh, they're a lot of fun. That's free advertising for that, although it might be over when this comes out. But anyways, Magic Cons are a lot of fun. A lot of people, hard to find people, and it's a challenge for content creators to find their fans or vice versa, especially if you're somebody who isn't easily recognizable. One of the things I did like is that last time when I was at Vegas, I was running into other Magic the Gathering puppets. There are more puppet content creators now. There's a puppet Jace out there. I don't know if you saw them.
I've seen that.
And the account, a Goddess of Blunder
Yes.
is a puppeteer. Another good one. There's a couple other ones floating around. There's actually a new one on TikTok. Oh, I can't remember. I want to say it's like Wubbly MTG or something like that.
Yeah. I know there.
Okay, so yeah, so there's a puppet renaissance going on in Magic the
Then
Gathering
maybe you
content.
guys need to do a puppet show at one of these cons. Do like a panel and like get all your puppet guys to puppetronics.
You know how they do like the Family Feud style thing? What if it was like Wizards employees versus puppets?
I feel there's a metaphor here.
somebody versus. Okay.
We couldn't get any content creators, so we got a bunch of puppets.
Yeah. And then they got schooled. That would be fun.
That would be funny. That would be really funny.
Yeah. So I feel there's a nice little comeback here. Did you see the Secret Lair puppet cereal one they did? That advertisement?
No, what?
Okay, so there was a Secret Lair product that was cards that looked like cereal boxes,
yes,
right?
So
it was like, okay, the advertisement was done as a Saturday morning cereal commercial with puppets.
I do remember that.
Which I very much enjoyed the fact that they went and tried to do something like that, and it was pretty good. I have a running gag where I think they actually did 2 of those. And the second one, they had another kind of green monster named Barry who looks a lot like Sullivan. So Sullivan gets very upset if you ask him about it. Hold on. I think he has to speak for himself on this one because, okay, here's the deal. Look, I tried out for that part. And Barry, that green guy, the green monster, look, I understand he has family in the business, right? He's a Nepo monster, and I get that. But I'm more qualified. Like, I've been trying to get into the Wizards, commercial scene, that lucrative stuff for forever. And I'm just to lose to Barry is insulting. I mean, he hasn't done his dues. He didn't walk the boards. He's in there only because his parents know people. It's super upsetting. And I mean, you know what I'm saying. I sent them headshots.
True tragedy, Sullivan.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. And I'm a little upset about it even today, even though it was a while ago. So he gets a little anxious about that. I love
that. Oh my God, that's so much fun.
I got one more. Did you ever see the Wooburg commercials?
No.
Oh, this is the best. Okay. Back in, I want to say, like 2012, Wizards made a Friday Night Magic commercial with a puppet named Wooburg. And he is the cringiest puppet you've ever seen. Like, just a total jerk. It's he and his friend go to F&M. And the puppet is just an absolute jerk the whole time. Like, doing like all the terrible things your friend could do if you're at F&M. And so it's be sure to Google Wooburg video. I have a video linked to it somewhere on my TikTok, but it is hilarious.
That sounds very mid 2000s Magic the Gathering, though.
Yeah. It was very like trying to hit, but didn't.
There's a whole like you can carbon date Magic's cringiest moments through their advertisements because they always give the game to advertisers who don't understand the brand or the players or anything.
Yeah.
So they always make these really bizarre edgelord kind of ads that are just like who are you trying to sell this to? Like nerds play this game, buddy. Oh my
Yeah,
god. God, that's so wild though. It's like, so let's talk more about the TikTok though, because I'm very
sure.
interested in like have you like landed on a posting schedule or something that helps you feed the algorithm? Like, how often do your videos go up?
So I know a lot of people. So old school TikTok was like you got to post like 3-4 times a day. Just get your content out there, shotgun
Mm.
it. I found that really hasn't applied for a couple years, and you are better served to make a quality video with some thought to it than
Oh,
to
well, I'm
just.
out.
I'm riding the line, but you should kind of know what you're doing. Sometimes um, you can just take shots with things. Some of the videos that I've had that actually have gone viral and have done the best are things that I just spur of the moment recorded. But I will generally I don't do a video a day. I don't hold myself to it. I probably do a video maybe every other day. I do it when something hits and something interests me, because I think people can tell when you're forcing content because it doesn't feel very interesting. So I'll do
Yes.
things where I'll talk about news or interesting cards that are coming out, or I'll have jokes, or I'll do just general script ideas where my characters will talk to each other about whatever's going on or something.
Did you put on a racing helmet for Aether Drift?
No, I thought about using like a Mario Kart steering wheel that I had to do
Mm.
something.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
you
get.
can grab it in the puppet hand.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I did have one joke about a Aether Drift racing mechanic that didn't quite make it, that Dave from Legal did. And let's just say whoever thought of this one really got Dave. You'll have to go watch it, because poor Dave gets really hoodwinked by
Oh, because I was gonna
what's
like what? Follow the speed limit signal before you turn.
it's
I'm like,
no,
what would the
you'll
legal department do with a racing train? It's like, all right, guys, make sure to look left, right, left before you
yeah. Well,
go
so
up your speed.
poor Dave, the R&D department gives them these mechanics that they want him to preview that aren't actually real mechanics. So the R&D department really just picks on him sometimes. So
Oh, that sounds awful.
I don't want to go into the mechanic
Yeah,
too
sure.
much on
Make
this,
people watch your
because
video.
also it's a little they get
Off
Dave.
color
Yeah, a
for the channel.
little, yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Okay, fair.
it's amusing.
And finding old TikToks though is real
It's a
hard.
trick. Yeah. Maybe I can send you a link, but other people just have to look. I have a playlist with Dave from Legal, and it's like the second one in there for now.
Oh, handy.
Other things you can do for TikTok, sometimes just talking about things. I talk about general, not magic stuff too. I talk about things that interest me related to like puppets or Sesame Street or the Muppets.
Mm.
I had a video, one of my videos actually that went the most viral was, so I'm monetized on TikTok.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the way it works, if you're in this program called the Creator Rewards Program, is that TikTok wants people to make 60+ second videos more to kind of compete with YouTube a little bit, and they will pay you higher on those kinds of videos, similar to like money you might make off of YouTube for a video. So, because otherwise TikTok does not make you a lot of money. But if you make those kind of videos, you can do some cash. So I had heard about how Sesame Street, for people not familiar with what's been going on with them for the last little bit, they were contracted with HBO Max to make episodes. So the way it worked is when there was that whole thing about Sesame Street and PBS and the government not wanting to fund them anymore, the Sesame Workshop, which is the nonprofit that makes Sesame Street, said, okay, well, let's see what else we can do. And HBO came in and said, all right, we'll do a 5-year contract with you. We'll help you. We'll pay for episodes. You'll also contribute. We get the episodes to show on HBO 3 months ahead, or some number of months ahead. And then you get to show them on PBS a little bit later. So HBO kind of got like first run of it. And they did that for 5 years, and it worked pretty well. And they did it for another 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that second 5-year contract, which just expired, HBO is like, well, we don't think we want to keep doing this. We want to do some other things. So right now, Sesame Street is kind of looking for more sponsorship. They've had some difficulties. Like they had to lay off some people because they don't have the next season paid for yet. So I know some of their writers and workers got laid off. So I made a video where I said, hey, I'm going to make this 60-second video. If people watch and engage with it, I'll donate all the money to the Sesame Workshop, basically.
Cool.
And so that video got close to 6 million views.
Holy crap.
It generated just over $1,500 at this point. So I donated all that to the Sesame Workshop, which is real nice because like I just made a video that was like, hey, this is a 60-second video for Sesame Street. If you'd like to help out Sesame Street because you like Sesame Street,
phenomenal. Just
watch this, leave a comment of like your favorite character, and then share and stuff. That's all you have to do. And lots of people engaged with it. And actually, the best part about doing that sort of thing is all the people talking about like their childhood memories of Sesame Street, or the number of people who like learned English from watching Sesame Street.
I mean, I did, and I was born in this country.
Yeah, there are a lot of kids born in this country who, their parents didn't speak English, and they learned English from Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, and programs like that.
I was telling somebody else the other day that like my first language was Gujarati, my second language was Hindi, my third language was Korean, and my fourth language was English. And I was born in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, that's sick though. I just have to remind myself that a 60-second TikTok is a lot different than a 60-minute podcast.
Oh yeah,
getting views. It's like I sit there, I'm like, oh, how are these people getting 10 million views? It's like, well, because you can blink and click and see it and watch it, and you're fine. You don't have to sit and engage with like.
You don't even have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you watch like 5 seconds of a video, it counts as a view. So
that's cheating.
Yeah, it is, but it works for that platform anyways.
Well, I mean, dude, whatever makes it work though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, I love seeing people find weird niches to become successful in, because it's just like, that's cool. I never would have thought of that. And also, I'm glad somebody is doing that. Why not? It's sick.
I really
should get in on that. It would be fun though.
Yeah, you should do it before it disappears forever if it does.
Yeah, right.
I like the fact that people can try just weird things on TikTok, because you can do whatever kind of content you want. If you want to take a shot at something and it's short and it doesn't have to be super complicated or flashy or edited. I actually think the things that are overproduced on TikTok don't do as well. If it feels like it was taken off of YouTube, like somebody recorded a YouTube video and then made it vertical and then posted it on TikTok, I don't think it does as well as somebody actually talking to the audience and giving your feelings about something, or doing something that's clever or funny or different.
I have some ideas. I think because like this year, I think I'm going to be trying to expand my reach a little bit and see what I can do elsewhere. Because like I have a lot of stories to tell. I'm sure I could find something to do on TikTok.
Yeah, or you just card of your day. I mean, that's if you did your card a day on TikTok, you record it and it takes you 2 minutes and you just post it. And maybe, like I said, maybe you get creative and put the picture. It's done. What's the worst that people are going to say about it? I mean, people record TikToks while they're walking on the sidewalk and just talk to the camera and they post it. And those do great.
My problem is that I do my Scryfall random literally first thing in the morning when I wake up from my bed. So I'm not recording a goddamn video from my bed.
That's what Kes does. So many people record
his
TikToks
wife is a lot more permissive than mine.
Right. I guess.
In any case,
your life circumstances may vary, yes.
Yeah, you know what? You roll with what you got to do. But this has been a really cool talk, man. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate this.
Glad to be here. I appreciate getting to tell people about this kind of thing. Yeah. And I hope it encourages other people to just try weird. I get sort of I don't like seeing the same kind of content over and over again. I love when people try new weird stuff. So that always makes me happy. I agree. That's why I'm just like, even though it's one of those things where I'm like this might not be my format of choice, but I'm glad that it's for someone's format, because like Tappy, for instance, is just born for the TikTok format. Like, yeah. And I'm like, I love this for her. I think it's so great. But if folks wanted to find you or your stuff, where could they go? Let's see. So you can find me at Sullivan Monster MTG on TikTok, or if you just search for Sullivan the Monster, pop up, big red Oscar the Grouch looking guy. You can find me on Blue Sky. I think it's just Sullivan Monster on that one, since it was new enough I could get it. And then on YouTube, I'm starting to post over there if something happens to TikTok permanently. You can find my YouTube channel at Tiny Hat Productions. Cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. This was super cool, and hope we get a chance to say hi in Chicago. Oh, yeah, definitely. This
This podcast will almost certainly have gone up after Chicago, so I hope
I
we will
figured.
have had a chance.
We
to
will
say
we will
hello.
have fun, yes.
But with that, my friends, as always, you can find me at Gears, or really these days at Shivam Bhatt on Blue Sky. And you can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, or at YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic or the Chronicles of Dragonlance. And as always, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.